now for the checklist. The fellows are the successful members of the DLS department. We are behind the scenes for organizing this lovely session. Please come on the stage. And now welcome Dr. Dinakaran, Assistant Professor, EIS Department, to introduce our Chief Guest to everyone.
Good afternoon, Honorable. So I take my privilege in welcoming Mr. Mageshwar Radhakrishnan. Sir, he started his career as assistant manager in Pan India marketing and become marketing engineer of Pan India in 2018. Further, as a senior manager and handled 25,000 course plus investment venture into auto and general manufacturing and food sectors. He established the industrial collaboration between Tamil Nadu and Japan, and he set up a base and created energies between the various organizations like JETRO, SPF and JAT and government department and concerned. So in this venture, he has visited various countries across the world like Japan, Dubai and etc. Once again, I welcome you, sir, for this meeting. Thank you, sir.
So let us now hand over the session to our Honorable Chief Guest. We are here to listen to you, sir.
Everyone had your lunch? So yeah, this will be a very informal session. Nothing specific is, but while we get out of this room, I think I'll have to tell you guys about entrepreneurship, and somewhere I can inspire you guys. So about me, yes, give a wonderful introduction. But then I'm an engineer as an MBA, and I worked in a lot of industries, manufacturing industries earlier. And previously, before starting TN, I was working with Guidance Tamil Nadu, which is like part of industries department. Wherein I was handling and grounding a lot of investments from FDIs basically into Tamil Nadu. And I was handling about 20,000 crores of investments in various sectors, as in ITC, Britannia, and food sector, certain automotive companies, which you might not recall. Those investments, we have handled it as part of government, and we made sure the ecosystem grows as in large industries. So you know what is a large industry? So by definition, something which does a revenue over 250 crores is a large industry, as in MSME classifications between government departments. So we have a lot of initiatives from the government end, and me part of started TN. So I'll tell you a very basic fundamental about how government works. So there are ministers, a very short thing. There are ministers with portfolios in the seasonal and the seasonal minister, right? Similarly, if you take the chief minister, his counterpart from the government side is the chief secretary, right? So So we have industry secretary, all those departmental secretaries. So I was working under industry secretary, which the department is called Guidance Tamil Nadu, wherein we rebranded and worked for the entire scope of the world to represent Tamil Nadu. So there I was handling Japan and Tamil Nadu relationships before 3 years, and for the last 3 years. Then we also have Startup TM, which was again a nodal agency, which was started 2 years before. It existed already, but then this started 2 years before, just to promote, to inspire, to create the startup ecosystem in Tamil Nadu. So are we clear? So I come from a place where we are representing the government, wherein we do a lot of initiatives to develop the startup ecosystem in Tamil Nadu. So it's at a base. The most awkward thing about standing here is Tamil Thai on face at the no one was singing. Somewhere like fifth somewhere oh, is it? Okay, even I don't know the song because I'm from Pondicherry. There's another Tamil Thai birthday. So just to ease out, this is a very formal session, informal session, okay? And I prefer you guys interact with me, okay? So there are two things I want to propose. One is either we can have an activity wherein I'll split teams and I want each team to present a pitch about the problem statement which I'll be giving, okay? So I have 5-member teams or a 10-member teams based on your interest. The others can watch from behind. Okay. These teams will present, and then I will tell you how startups are being validated. What is a startup? Why you will have to be an entrepreneur? What makes you an entrepreneur? And that will be a fun activity wherein I also be involved. Or else I can do a presentation. So what do you guys prefer? Presentation. So how many of you guys wants the activity? Okay, so those who raise your hands, please come out. So I'll give 1 more minute to decide. You can think and let me know how many of you guys want to do and take part in the activity. If someone is interested, it's fine. If not, it's okay. It's okay. Push button. As far as they are concerned. Alright, just count 1 to 1. Just 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay? Just tell your number. Someone start. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you guys are ready? So what I'm going to do is, I'll take an idea, okay, or a problem statement or a sector. You can choose any startup idea of your own, and you'll have to create a pitch. 3-slider, just 3-slider. Yes, anyone has a laptop? It is going to be 2 teams. Oh, sorry, teams. 3 laptops available, right? But they can bring them. 3 slides. Okay, you should bring up about a startup and you'll have to present. Okay, I'll tell you what is required in those 3 slides. Okay, so please encourage them. Okay, as far as you can present it here, I'm fine. 3 slides. Okay, so guys, wait outside. I'll give you 2 sectors. Just note it down. So you guys are from engineering, right? Everyone is from engineering. Which department? So what is Web3? One sector is Web3. Second sector is circular economy. Just Google what is circular economy, and you will have to find 3 ideas. Alright, are you guys listening? 3 ideas, 3 presentations, each will have 3 slides. And you guys all will have 10 minutes to present here. And we'll give proper comments. Right? So 1, 2, 3, please. We'll have to split things. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 2, 3. So I'm just splitting 1 here, 2 here, 3 here. Are we game? So please, 1 sort of 1. So the 1s will be 1 team, 2s will be 1 team, 3s will be 1 team. So you guys can go out and wait, I'll come. Okay?
வாட்ஸ்அப் பயோல இருந்துச்சு நான் அப்படியே சேவ் ஆயிடுச்சு.
All right.
இப்போ நான்
Okay. So how many of you guys want to be an entrepreneur later on? Want to do a startup later on? If anyone is interested. Okay. All right. So what is a startup? Can you all occupy the seat? Those rows. Very last row. Very first row. Front in the row. Front வரீங்களா? Easy for me, so please. So am I audible? Okay. So sorry guys. So, what is a startup? So, why it is important to think like a startup, or you want to do an entrepreneurship? Yeah, we have a lot of intrinsic qualities within us, right? You guys can be smart. You guys can be academically good. You guys can be creative mindsets. Everything can be there. But why does it have to be? Why should I be here and talk to you guys about startups? Why is that happening? Why should I do it? Because being an entrepreneur will have certain qualities, which is leadership. Am I not audible? So I can be in Tamil and English, right? English. Okay, fine. So, what are the qualities which will have to be there to do a startup? Is very much important to have it in your own life. Okay, I'm not going to give you some gyan, not some advice here. I'm going to give some experiences of me so that you can relate to it later. Okay, so I'm here. That is why. And what are the first ever thing which you could think of, a quality which you could think of, which will make you an entrepreneur or a startup? Right. Innovation, then passion, yeah. Sorry. Leadership. Okay, so leadership, innovation, one more thing, passion. So I'll start with these three. Okay, I'm just going to go with whatever interaction we are going to have. Fine. So tell me one words of what you want to learn today, or share as from an experience point of view from me. What do you want to learn from me? Any kind of a tagline, could be marketing, branding, whatever it is. You can tell me that. Any words, if you are interested in, or why you are here, sitting here. Otherwise, attendance தவிர்த்து எதுக்கு இங்க உட்கார்ந்திருக்கீங்க. So அது என்ன எனக்கு இன்னைக்கு தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும். So this I will be interested for that. எனக்கு இது பத்தி பேச தூக்கம் வராது. So you can tell me that. What side you want to learn? Okay, we'll fix with leadership, passion, innovation. Okay, so if you take the startup cycle, I'll tell you what is a startup. Okay, or I'll tell you with the first slide. What is a business? What is a startup? Any differences? So a business is for making money, as simple as that, right? A startup is a step further, more than making money. So how do you do it? Why is word passion comes in when you talk about a startup? Why does a word leadership related to entrepreneurship? So business is a traditional way of getting money. It could be a father's traditional business, or it could be a manufacturing industry which is doing a component for a tier 1 company, or it could be any food item which is being consumed. So it could be a product manufacturing or a service offering which is focused only to make a business, right? So that is startup comes in. So it could be a product which is sold to a tier 1 company, as a tier 1 supplier, but it is going to reduce pollution, right? It could be a food product which will be produced and consumed by the people, but with a health conscience, right? So what is it? It is either an innovation or a solution which you are going to offer. Why I am in here? Why I am in a college? Why I am being here talking to students? Because I believe ideas come from here, right? A lot of ideas come from the student community, student group. That is why we are here. So students is where we do focus on a lot of initiatives. When you take a startup, so a startup starts from an so a startup starts from an idea, right? Idea. So comes from an idea, and someone has to validate it. So a startups, it could be a person's idea, or it could be a group of individuals. like you guys sitting and talking together. Okay, let's do this. So, the பண்ணிட்டு after that it should be validated. After validating, you will create a product or a service out of it, which could give out some business revenue. Then it is going to reflect on a market which you are going to address. Then it is going to be incubated, it is going to be accelerated, and then is the funding. Okay, this is the cycle of the startup. So, how important it is to feel entrepreneurial, or how important it is to have the kind of opportunity. Yes, we are fine with placements. They are telling, okay, go for work for a company, and it is not stereotyped that someone who's aspiring for a placement, someone is aspiring for a work, is not stereotyped as a bad option. It is a good option. But what does startups do? Startups are the companies who you are going for placements. At a point of time, they would have been a startup. So we are here, and every other startup, the closure or the end point, if it is positively succeeded, then it is a large industry, wherever you guys are applying for jobs. Right? So it all starts from here. So I go with what is the difference between a startup and a business. So can we move the slides? Not a very traditional presentation, so it's all about experiences. I'll also tell about certain startup ideas. So I was responsible for Tanseed 4.0. Okay, Tanseed is Tamil Nadu Seed Fund, wherein we give 10 lakhs for ideas or startups from the government end. It was given by the Chief Minister, so I handled 4.0 version. Now it is 6.0 version, wherein we evaluated 357 startups. Okay, so what did we do? We received ideas. Okay, so the 1,357 startups we accumulated, they applied to us, we validated, and we had certain partners to validate it, and we found out these 50 are the best. We give 10 lakhs each. So how do we do it? So I'll tell you good startups which we evaluated. For example, there's one company called Zera Robotics, which we gave 10 lakhs. So you know what they did? They did underwater drones for ships' hull inspection. Okay, and they were the ones which have the longest range, which is 400 meters under the sea level. And they were like students like you. They were initial phases of their career, and they did it. They already had an order with Australian government. So this was an idea. And there was one startup from Ramnad. She was a woman, and even though she didn't have much of an aesthetics on language and etc., she created a solution for localized tailoring. So wherein every other tailor, women tailor, they can onboard as easy as a logistics Zomato, Swiggy, Mali. So they will onboard tailors. So if you go and give a request, they will come home, stitch, take your measurements, go back, stitch, and deliver the product to you. So that was an idea. So all these ideas we evaluate on a larger scale, as in we have partners, sector specific, we evaluate them on various stages, and we give those 10 lakhs. That's how, these are few ideas which I wanted to tell. So there is a basic difference between an entrepreneur and a businessman. So I will leave you with these thoughts, and you can ask me questions before this, before I move to the next slide. Any questions? No questions? I don't want this to be a one-way dialogue. So you guys are students, girls are students. It's better if we interact and talk. Else you're going to sleep. I don't want this to be boring as well. Any questions? You move to the next slide. Okay. So, as much relatable, if you're going to do a startup and you're going to sell it, this is one insight which I want to give. They don't buy what you do, they buy only why you do it. So, this is how you differentiate between a traditional business and a startup idea. So not necessarily a startup should solve a problem. So it is one of the common definition. நீங்க startup ஆரம்பிக்கணும்னா you should have to solve an existing problem or something like that. It is not that. You'll have to solve or you'll have to find a way something is adding value to an existing statement. So that is where your thought process comes in. So that is where you can find yourself and let's say and I'm totally talking in a perspective where fine the placement perspective, let's keep it apart for some time. I'm just going to give ideas of startups. So that is the context I want to set. So next slide please. So what does not define a startup? So people often believe startups are by like 2-3 people getting into an idea, doing something based on the size of it and there's no background of it, or it is not a registered company. No, a startup is where a solution is formed and a solution or a product or a service is formed and it is not going to exist already in the system, in the ecosystem, and you have found a way that this will add value to the existing problem also. That could also be a startup. So it is all the myths which is around you which could not let you open up doors in your head towards thinking an entrepreneurial mindset. So the point is, why do I have to do a startup when I have already a job, already a placement? No, we are not getting into there. If you have an idea, if you have an inspiration that you'll have to do something in the next 2 years, then just go through this. And any questions, please let me know. So when does it being not a startup? So when it can be two ways. One, if a startup which you have started has attained a large industry status and it is performing so well and it is making much revenue, then it is not a startup. On another side of it, when there is no creative contributions is happening daily and there is no constant involvement inside the startup firm, then it stops being a startup. It again goes to an MSME. MSME as in medium, small, mid-sized companies. So a startup is always defined or distinguished by innovation or a problem solving. So ideas are worthless. Why? When is an idea worthless? Sorry? So an idea is worthless when it is exactly so not executed. So you could have a very good idea. It could be much fancy as that, or it could solve the world's problem in a day. But if it is not started being executed, then there's no point of its existence, right? So if you have an idea, just try to see the implications of it, how it is going to be implemented or how it is going to help in doing that, right? So the basic purpose of an idea should solve something, or it could iterate something, iterate a value additional perspective. So ideas are worthless if it's not being executed, right? Are we in it? So a strong value proposition. So this I really wanted to install in your heads. The point is, whenever you think an idea, it could be a very good idea, but the point is, you should have an implementational level maturity when you think about an idea and not wasting time on it. This is very important because as I told you, when we evaluated 1,357 applications, they were private limited companies, they were startup proprietorship companies, they were partnership companies, which they have been working on. The point is, when we started evaluating, either it had its scale or scope of implementation zero, it could not be implemented, or it already existed, or it is not going to make any revenue, or it is not a viable business model. So whenever you think about an idea, if you want to do a startup, if you want to do a business, think about how better it is going to add value in the existing business. So any idea will exist in one form or the other in the system. Example, if you take Swiggy, there are a lot of companies. So this bubble, what they're talking about in Bangalore. So when startup started, there were 5 ideas. Example. Then people started adding one value to it, and they made it on a different company. For example, if there is Swiggy, then they will add value of a cloud kitchen, and then that will become a new company. So there are hundreds of such companies which is growing, and at a point of time, it becomes very redundant. So it is going to exist in no matter what. So when that is going to happen, the bubble is going to burst. The companies are not going to grow, and the shares, the business, the scope, the market access, everything is going to be split amongst the same existing companies. So whenever you think about an idea, you'll have to have a very strong value proposition wherein this will make this solution apart from the existing companies, startups in the play. Right? So you'll have to think and get it validated as soon as possible. So this is one major thing which I wanted to add. So we have a 10 pointer. This is a second. We'll have 8 more. Okay. Yes. So whenever you have people working together, whenever you form a team, you should always surround yourself with smart people, smarter people than you. So how does it add value? There are a lot of qualities which is innate in you, which could add value, which you are very thorough of, which you have a very good confidence. But the point is, if you have a smarter person than you in your team, then you're going to learn something from that, and you are going to deliver something to the next individual. So it's always good to have smarter people in your team. As in, smarter is not existential. It is going to be there. Someone is smart in any ways possible. So it is where you identify how good you are in a particular skill or a particular mindset or a particular creativity. It could be anything. Right? Next. So bootstrap. I am a student. I have an idea. How do I make it as a company? This is a very basic question which we are addressing everywhere, every now and then. So I'll tell you, if you can note it down or listen properly, you can. If you have an idea, the first 2 points, you should make it a very strong value proposition, which means that first thing you'll have to do a basic study, do the fundamentals. I'm always said, as in my seniors, if I'm performing or being in an activity space, then I'll have to be accountable in the same way. I'm also should be knowledgeable with the activity. So similarly, if you have an idea, you should be very clear on the fundamentals of it, whether it is existing already. That's the first ever study you should do, whether the solution is already existing. If the solution is existing, you should deep dive into the process of it, how it is being executed, what is the revenue which is made of that particular existential solution, or how spread it is, or someone is doing it in a wrong way, right way, you should do the fundamentals of the basic idea which you have. Once you have done it and you find it very unique, you go to your academician, your professors, your HODs to validate it. If it is validated, you should go to the particular sector people who is already existing to get it validated again. So this is how you form a basic groundwork of your idea, post which you will have to uh, bootstrap. What is bootstrapping? So bootstrapping is spending money. Okay. So how do you spend it? We are students. We will not have money. Fine. But you'll have an idea. You'll have to be executed. You'll have to find support. You'll have to spend money. But how do you spend it? So that's very important. Next. Yeah. So spend when necessary. Spend within your means. Spend for customer experience. What is the third point? So when you have a startup idea, okay, then you have made a product or a service. So I have friends who want to. I'm getting distracted. Some good joke. So if that's a customer, what's a customer experience? Okay. Then. Sorry. Sorry. Okay. So I have told you, right? Just I told you, you should do the fundamentals right, and you'll have to find the credibility of your product, and you have to get it validated. What you do after your product is validated, you'll have to sell it to someone. So you can't just go and sell it, right? The first ever investment in marketing is you test your product, right? How do you test your product? You give it to your customers. So when you give the product to your customers, then they will have to consume it without a price. That is the basic level of monetary impact which this means, right? So spend it for customer experience means you take your product to your customers, and you cannot do with the price tag. You do it on spending. This is the monetary implication, right? Next. So that you can spend, of course. That is going to add a very credibility on your product, right? Next. MVP. So what is? I should have done the other way. So minimum. What is a minimum viable product? So a minimum viable product is where. Can someone tell me an idea? No. Any ideas? Okay, so a minimum viable product is where, okay, you got an idea to recycle. Okay, you're going to target at plastic bottles, and you have a vending machine which is already existing. You put your plastic bottles and you get money, right? So you're going to design a data product, data analytical product, wherein this transaction of plastics and money outcome, which is like what? You evaluate a used plastic bottle to a 20 rupees, 20 bucks, which you're going to get. So how this is being decided? There has to be some data analytics on it. How do you decide the data? So you'll have to find the value of the recycled plastic bottle, right? Right. So how much it is going to be sold to a person who's needing it, who's going to recycle it and come out with a lot of other products. Right? So this data analytics product you are going to do. How do you do it? So you'll have to find a way that product can be sold. Right? So how do you define the user interface of it? How do you define how are you going to feed the data of it? How are you going to collect the data of it? How this identification of possible supply of the collected bottle to the vendors and equate it to a money point and get the money. So how viable it is going to be. So all this you have to work, and it will be an application for a data product, right? So this data product will become a minimum viable product when you have found a vendor to buy it. Okay, so when will a vendor or a person will buy a product? When it is going to solve this problem, when it is going to when he is going to see some value, so that when this product comes, he could define or reduce a lot of costs. So minimum viable product is where a customer can buy your product in a proper shape. Am I making sense? Next. So this is one thing which I told you earlier, fail fast. Because an idea which is not validated, an idea which is not right, you will have to identify as soon as possible, because you're going to waste a lot of time. Okay, so fail fast. Because failing fast will open up a lot of opportunities to develop and rediscover your idea. Right? Yeah. Next. So why do we do this? Why do we do all this? We'll have to make money, right? So there's nothing philanthropic about a business. You do something out of your revenue, that is different. You'll have to still earn for it, to do something for the society, do something for the CSR. So you make money out of your business. That is the very important point, which is going to be naturally available when you ever design an idea. So everything is going to be focused on money. But the point is, how do you make it? Right? Thanks. Should I explain this? So be hungry, be foolish. So why do you have to be hungry? Why do you have to be foolish? Be foolish because you make mistakes, and with mistakes you can learn. Why do you have to be hungry? Not the difference. Not sleep. So being hungry, as in, for me, I'm working. I was working in manufacturing industry. I wanted to be in the government, and I also now doing some initiatives part of being a bigger picture. And I still want to do. I'm doing an NGO for the past 8 years, and what I do, we go and renovate government schools. We just don't paint it. We do some artwork. We totally change the aesthetics of a government primary school. So why I'm doing it? Because only if there is an existential identification which someone has to talk about you, you will have to do something, and your job is done, not just fit. Because for me, I'll have to do and contribute and give it back to the society in some way or the other. So that's why I'm in the government. And the NGO part, I want to utilize my time. So that is all personal about how someone has to validate their time, spend their time. But the point is, being hungry will reflect in a lot of other areas. You will be constantly going forward with the perspective in life, and it will build your character. Next. So yeah, all the businesses doesn't work. All the businesses are not unicorns, but we cannot still work on the luck, right? So if something doesn't work quite well, just take a pause, take 2 steps backward, think through, and go forward again. As simple as that. Next, last one. So entrepreneurs never fail. You guys agree with that? Because a failed entrepreneur is an experience for another person who's starting their similar business. So this is all these points, 10 pointers. I just wanted to deliver it to you. And regarding startups, as I told you, it is a very good option in life. So as to be your own, king or queen in your own arena. So that's where it is. That's where it comes from. So we are here to support. We are here to talk about startups as much as possible because we are lacking ideas. In Chennai, in this region, we expect a lot of ideas to come through, and so there was one fancied winner in the first ever version, and we have a lot of there's one company called SecureNext. SecureNext is like another K7 Kaspersky scheme, antivirus. That's from Chennai. So a lot of other companies are coming in, and I think high time you can think through the possibilities of what an entrepreneurship could give you. So what are the 3 basic qualities of a leader? If I tell 3 things, one is, you guys might have seen that slide or image. One is being courageous, one is being compassionate, one is being
Communication.
sorry,
Communication.
yeah, that has to be there. So one has to be clever. So the 3 C's: courageous, that is being brave, and being clever, but without a compassion, you're not going to be a leader. And you can be clever, you could have good compassion, but without being brave, you can never be a leader. Right? If you can be brave, you can have a lot of compassion in others' life, but if you're not clever, again, you're not going to lead. So these 3 things, I think it starts from here. So as much as compassionate you are to your fellow colleagues, as much as you are brave towards finding and deciding life for yourself, as much as you're clever, as in it will, again, it is not existential already, you'll have to build it in you. So as far as these 3 things are concerned, then you'll have to start right from here. This is one yarn I gave last week. So are we good? So I'll just talk to your friends and we'll come back with the presentation. Yes, can we? If there is any question, you can ask me in the last Q&A. I'll just meet your friends and come back. Thank you.
Udah,